One of our presidents is missing.
Ooh, Politico reports that Joe Biden has, and this is a quote, effectively disappeared from the radar. And before I get to that, I swear I'm not counting or anything, but as I say these words, it's approximately 40 days, 23 hours, 17 minutes, and 52 seconds until President-elect Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. Approximately. I swear I'm not counting. But it feels like we need to dispatch with the elect part of President-elect already. Say it about 40 days, 23 hours, 17 minutes, and 38 seconds, if I had to guess. But let me get back to this Politico story, gentlemen. Oh, by the way, I'm Steve Green. That's Bill Whittle. That's Scott Ott. This is Trifecta. Or excuse me, Right Angle. Wow, there's a callback. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Oh, goodness. Suddenly it's 2015 again. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, that's Politico awesome. Got this Where's Biden ball rolling on Monday with a report headline, Biden shrinks from view ahead of Trump's return to Washington. And there were no fewer than 4 byline reporters in this story that noted within the Democratic Party, this is from the story, on Capitol Hill and even within his own administration, it feels like he left the Oval Office weeks ago. And it noted that Biden, as I said, has effectively disappeared from the radar. The story quoted a former White House official accusing the not quite former president of being, quote, so cavalier and selfish about how he approaches the final weeks on the job. Bill, what did they expect after senior Democrats kicked Biden to the curb in an intra-party coup last summer?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That was my precise answer. It's like Joe Biden left the presidency the moment he announced that he wasn't going to run for re-election after deciding that he was going to run for re-election. The instant that he was basically forced out of the race is the minute he gave up. There's you remember just a day or two after the election when Trump went to visit the White House and Trump and Biden were sitting there and Biden was all smiles and shaking hands and I must have seen 200 commentators saying Biden voted for Trump. There's no question. There's just absolutely no question he voted for Trump.
Biden said, welcome back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how he greeted him.
So is that what he said?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. And this is kind of a binary thing too, Steve, because clearly Joe Biden really hasn't been. I don't think he's really been the president during his entire term, but there's no question over the last 2 years he's just completely fallen off the wagon. So it's not like this was a vigorous, engaged man who was always on the job who just suddenly disappeared. This is a guy who went 14 months without a press conference, and so there's that aspect of it. But I think the second part of this kind of binary equation is that Donald Trump has been so dynamic as president-elect. He's had so many meetings. He'll make a phone call to Justin Trudeau. Trudeau will fly down to Mar-a-Lago. They'll have a summit down there with. He's not even sworn in yet. Donald Trump will make a phone call to the president of Mexico and threaten the second I get into office, I'm putting a 50% tariff on Mexican goods. And the next, these immigrant convoys are being turned around by Mexican police and army forces and being disbanded and broken up.
He went to Notre Dame.
I've never seen. I've never seen the likes of it before. It's like a bow shockwave. It precedes him. I think there's probably part of that is the scale of his win. It was a big win. It wasn't like a Reagan win, but it was a cross-culture win. It was
convincing.
It was a thrashing.
He took every swing state. I mean, that's
it was
big.
It was a commanding win. He has, and I think one other aspect to why Biden has essentially abdicated to the president-elect is because for the first time since Grover Cleveland, the president-elect has been president before. I mean, I think that's got to be factored in here as well. It's not like there's a guy coming into the job who's never done it before. It really is welcome back. It's welcome back, Donald. The new sitcom.
Right, I've already got the John Sebastian song stuck in my head.
Yeah, me too. But I think a combination of all these things have set up a really unique. Historical. I've never seen the likes of it during the time I've been watching politics. It makes Joe Biden he's not even a lame duck. He's not even a duck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I started calling him the first sitting lame duck, the first term lame duck president in American history, and I think I started calling him that in 2022, maybe 2021. It's been going back a ways now. But I want to get back to that Politico story for just a sec. In it, a Democrat close to senior lawmakers, they always speak on condition of anonymity, told Politico that and again, this is a quote, in conversations that I'm having, they don't even mention the president, talking about lawmakers. It's kind of sad. It feels like Trump is president already. Well, if you want, it's not sad. This is why we're all smiling today. And Scott, I want to get back to another current event. Others couldn't help but notice that during last week's reopening of the Notre Dame in Paris, that Trump was effectively serving as our head of state, even if he won't be our head of government for another 40 days, 23 hours, 12 minutes, or whatever's left now. And the day before Politico issued that report, this would be on Sunday, the U.S. Air Force dropped about 140 munitions on a very broad gathering of ISIS fighters in Syria. We don't know who issued that order, whether it was President Porchlight, a cabinet officer, a staffer, somebody at the Pentagon, maybe with authority. We don't know, but Scott, in my mind, it seems reasonable to assume that that order wasn't given by anybody that anyone elected to make that call. And while I'm all in favor of blowing ISIS, I also believe in the chain of command. And Scott, this is a very weird time, even if the United States, where we have this transition period, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know what to make of the specifics of any particular military operation, other than to say that there are probably contingency plans in place should X happen, Y will follow.
Let's hope
X
so.
Happens, yeah, Y follows. It's been interesting. So the most generous interpretation is that the president is engaged in what he said he was, which was going back to make the final days of his presidency the most consequential term of a presidency that America's ever seen. Head down, nose to the grindstone. He's working late, burning the midnight oil, doing his job. On the other hand, I heard a report on NPR today, and I wish I had the transcript of it because the words were just precious. But they said that he was giving a speech about his economic accomplishments. And the way they couched it was kind of like President Biden is going to give a speech about the legacy of his economic program, trying to convince Americans that the economy isn't what it turned out to be and isn't the reason why Harris lost the election. So, NPR was actually a little snarky in this story about a Democratic president, which just kind of took me off guard. Normally, it's not that way at all. The Saturday Night Live newscast, Michael Che on Weekend Update, started off a news story somewhat like this. President Biden today, still? So there was, I did see some stories where Democrats are complaining that Biden is abdicating the presidency essentially and letting Trump act as the de facto president who's only president-elect. And then they listed some of the things that you've talked about. But it's interesting because their complaint wasn't that Biden isn't doing the job of the president of the United States. Their complaint was that Biden isn't positioning Trump properly. Like he's not bashing Trump enough. He needs to get in there and mix it up and make sure that the next term of the president of the United States can't possibly be successful. We need to dirty up the president more than they already did during the campaign. I will also note that former presidential candidate, what was the first name? Kamala Harris has gone back to being what we all dream a vice president will be, which is invisible and silent.
Oh, that's just one thing. That was one last thing. It's the third part of my binary equation. The fact is that Joe Biden abdicated the presidency to Kamala Harris on the day that Harris entered the race, and then Harris abdicated the presidency on the day she lost the race. Yeah. So it's actually a two-step abdication. Not only is the president no longer visible, but the person who was essentially made de facto president, namely Kamala Harris, during the campaign, has also fled the scene. She could have stepped in and filled this vacuum. That would have been the natural order of things, but she decided to take a hike as well.
Yeah. Scott, you reminded me of something that is a little off topic, but I think folks will enjoy this. It's just like a little 1-minute clip. You can find it on X of the Bidens and the second couple. And I think it was the Kennedy Center on Sunday night, some big show, whatever it was. And of course, the president and the first lady are the last ones to enter the box seats where, you know, all the bigwigs are. And so Kamala Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff are sitting on the president and first lady's left as they walk into this big beautiful box seat thing, and Biden and Joe and Jill very pointedly are looking away from Harris and Emhoff, and when they finally do have to look in that direction because they've got people they've got to wave to over there, they very pointedly do not look at Harris or at Emhoff. And poor Emhoff, what did he do other than, you know, beat a woman? But that's neither here nor there. Just how snide and mean girls the whole thing is. It just, if you wondered how small the Bidens are, that's how small they are. So there you have that. But back to the actual topic at hand. Maybe the more germane question isn't asked whether the president or whether we should dispense with the elect for President-elect Trump, but whether Joe Biden was ever effectively president at all, and what might happen with that empty, resolute desk during the next 40 days, 22 hours, 58 minutes. And I swear to God, I'm not counting. All right. That's Right Angle. I swear that's the name of the show. Brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.